Today I got into silver buys and it worked out good, right? If I'm to grade the week, I would say that, it's been how do I put it? A paradoxical one, right? Monday was good, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? It was just in between. I didn't get entries into plays that I thought were very good, right? And, it wasn't just all of that are good, if you get what I mean, right? And I did a video about that on TikTok, just explaining how I felt about that as a trader, and also reminding myself that this is actually the business, right? Understanding that even the weeks where you feel like this is a $10,000 week and you're barely scratching $1,000 or $2,000, it's like, well, this is the business, like, and you need to be able to live with that and move forward, right? But today was, good. I was able to buy silver, and the question is, are we bottoming out now on the precious metals? Are we ready to see gold return back to 5 5? Are we going to see silver, return back into 100? All those questions are the questions of the mind, and I'll do a little bit of talking about that in this, as I also show you, my idea behind the trade, and would start from there. So I was buying silver today, and it was because of this, right? If you come into the daily time frame here, you would see that we now have gotten a run below this low inside of this fair value gap. Fits the same idea that I've talked about with the other block, right? It's kind of like every time we get into a reference point that makes sense, right? We would see a bounce from there. But then that bounce doesn't eventually lead to the overall bounce or the overall reversal, right? That's one way to think about it. But the best way I want you to think about it is, if you think this level is good enough, looking for a run below sell side liquidity inside of that level is good. If I think, this level is good enough, looking for this run above buy side liquidity, right, makes a lot of sense. Looking for this run above buy side liquidity makes a lot of sense. So that's just really the idea. It's called offset distribution. So price is going to be taking out everyone that has already been long here, setting their stop loss here, taking them out, and then eventually could go higher. Now that's the idea. But one of the things I like about the business is your idea just needs to make you money. It doesn't need to be right. So I talked about how we can take out this loan now and expand higher. That might not happen, but I've made money today. What do I mean? So because of that idea, I have what is called trade ideation, right? Based on so many things, we have this old highs in here, right? After this run, we have this old highs in here that would be breakers. And then we can see a bounce off there. That's, another reason to want to be thinking about buys, right? But if we look at today, we just see price open, right, and dance around that open, but eventually runs lower here, takes out sell side liquidity. When I was looking at this, I was looking at how this OB would be the entry. That's exactly where I got it from. Right, I was buying right from this OB, and you see just what I just explained, a run below this low, and this OB was my idea. But because I understand that the range is not from low to high, but actually from low to high, I moved my stop loss down here. Right, and it was a short scalp. I don't trade silver. I just felt it was beautiful at the moment. Like, it had, what I wanted to see. If we go to look at gold, made me trust the silver buys, but not really as clean as, silver there, right? This would have been the OB, but as you can see, it's not as clean as silver. One of the things I want you to look at is, I use gold and silver, or I use silver as a correlation to gold sometimes, right? And that correlation is liquidity, right? So we see gold taking out Asia's low here. But if we look at silver, silver fails to take out Asia's low, and that's a divergence that leads into buy side, right? But yeah, that's just one way to think about it. But this trade was purely based on the fact that we were already inside of a higher time frame level. This candle is showing exhaustion. The way this candle closes, right, or closed, right, shows exhaustion. So that also was one of the reasons I was looking at that. And honestly, I was just aiming for a short-term play. Like I said yesterday, I don't think I'm liking the price action to even do anything. But when I saw this, it looked good to me, so I got in, right? So again, the question again returns back to, are we going to see buy side on this, right? Are we already starting to see, a long-term low forming on gold, right? And the answer to that question is unknown, if I'm being honest, right? Unknown because we've seen the DXY start to put in sell side, right? But fundamentally, actually, we're seeing the DXY actually show selling pressure. We're seeing inflation numbers, but those inflation numbers are still the ones from the previous month. And again, like I've said, and it looks like I'm regurgitating this again, right? The pair to look at is oil. Oil went 2.78% today. If oil continues to rally higher, right, it shows that currently we have inflation problems. And if you just go on your Safari right now or Google and just say US-Iran war updates, you'd see what is happening right now. It is still crazy news out there on how things are not being opened, or how there's still a problem between the US and Iran. And what that would mean is inflation remains to be high. And if price is riding on that current story, then we probably will not see a leg higher on gold yet. We'll still continue to see price fall lower. If that story continues, that we would see that the yield market stays up. And what I want you to remember is this story is what we've been playing all year. The yield market has been bullish, gold bearish, right? Oil remaining strong, right? DXY remaining strong. That's the story we've been hearing, right? So if that until that story changes, and that's why I said it's unknown, because you can say this is a good point to start to see buy side. If we keep this low that silver already took here, right? That's a divergence, a huge divergence inside of a higher time frame level. This is OB here for silver. It's inside of a fair value gap, right? If we keep that low, it's very possible that we start to see, extended prices, or we start to see price at least rally up a little bit, right? If that story changes, right? But we have to really wait. We have to really wait and see what is happening. And like I said, the pair to check, sorry, the pair to check is oil. The pair to check is oil. The pair to check is yield. If we start to see the yield market, this is what I'm really watching. If we start to see the yield market break this low, I think I have it marked down, this particular low here. If we start to see the yield markets break this particular low, I would start to look for sell side. I would start to, that would be, losing momentum for the yields, and that would mean that the Feds are likely to cut rates soon, and the market is going to read that as bearish dollar, and risk assets would start to gain investments, right? The risk assets I like to watch in this vein would be BTC and gold. But now look at the dollar also. We're also at the critical level at the dollar. Yes, we've seen sell side, but now we're inside of that breaker. I like this breaker a lot. So this can easily be a continuation higher for the dollar. We took out sell side liquidity and we can just continue to bounce. Right. Now, what would make me trust this? Oil stays higher, right? And that's why oil is the most important chart to me here. If oil continues to stay around over $80 per barrel, that means that we have inflation here. And inflation being here would mean that the Feds are not able to cut rates. That would mean that yield can stay higher, right? If the yield stays higher, the risk assets will suffer and they will go lower. So that's why, even the longs I took here, it has the potential to do, a lot more if I was bullish, but trust me, I'm either or, I'm neutral. I just found an opportunity that I was able to make money off of. Right. And I was able to do that. I scaled up positions. I still have some entries in there, but they're it's very little, right? My stops are already at break even. and then I'll just see what plays out, right? As I watch all of these other things that I've talked to you about. So that's it, right? I wouldn't even be opening GU because there's not much there, right? So if you look at it, we have, oh, this is not DXY I want to show you. I mean, this is the DXY here, right? If you look at it, it's the same thing, right? But look at it, we have bearish OB on the 4 hour here. We have bullish OB on the 4 hour. We're just in the middle. So, like, if we see lower prices, it makes sense. If we see higher prices from here, it makes sense. So, the real determinant would be what the fundamentals are saying. Are we likely to see rate cuts, or we would continue to see hawkish rate as we've seen all year? And that simple factor can really just change, things inside of here. So I'll be watching PCE coming in next week and all of the other news releases to kind of make my bias on this. And obviously, I'm going to update you guys on it. Right. So I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go lower. Right. I'd like to see your thoughts in the comments. Right. And I would do well to also engage that. Right. But if DXY is this, I don't know what to do on gold. Right. I would, it hurts me that I did not get this entry. It hurts me that I did not get this entry. Okay, I already took it out because the one I showed you yesterday, right? Because it finally got to very close to my TP. This was going to be my TP. If I took that trade, I was going to be selling from here and I was going to be covering those positions somewhere down here. But again, that wasn't given to me. That was one of the shit moments in this week. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, but guys, that's it. I'm going to go have a good weekend. I'm going to relax. I'm going to reset. I'm going to do, the things that I have to do, and then we'll come back next week and see what it is. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed the reviews. Right, it's gonna get better and better. Trust me. Again, it's gonna continue to be raw and unfiltered. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions about this. I'm just here to share mine, and I would see you. Bless up, family.